So is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 going to get delayed? When will we see gameplay on this game? What form will it be? Will it be a trailer or will it be a huge hour-long Nintendo Direct focused on The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2? And what about the Zelda ports? Will games like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess hit the Nintendo Switch? In this video, we are going to take a deep dive into these topics and discuss what I think will happen to these games and go further into detail than the last video I did. I didn't go too into detail in the last video because there were other topics that we were talking about, so I wanted to focus on this today. If you guys enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe for more videos just like this. And if you want to help me reach my Twitter goal of 1,000 followers, you can follow me at roborob93. So The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 is a game that I think I can confidently say that a lot of us are very excited for. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 was a massive game for Nintendo and a lot of Nintendo Switch owners and Wii U owners as well, because it did release on the Wii U as well. So naturally, when the sequel was announced, we got really excited. It was using the Breath of the Wild 1 assets as well and using the same engine and so on, so you would think that the development on this game would go a bit faster than usual. If I recall, that's why some of the Nintendo 64 Zelda games development was much faster as well. But it seems like that's not the case because it got delayed a couple times. They want to spend a little bit more time on this game, which I don't have a problem with that too much. Now, we have until spring of 2023 for that release date, a release date that I think some people are starting to think is going to change to say holiday season of 2023 because Nintendo isn't really sharing too much info on this game. Well, I think it won't happen personally, and it all has to do with the Nintendo momentum, which, to put it in simple terms, is Nintendo marketing their games. News and reveals add momentum of excitement to Nintendo and the Nintendo brand, which that keeps going as they add more news and more releases for Nintendo Switch games. This also involves looking at what Nintendo does in the past to predict their future. So when you take that into account, we can look at the timeline from now until spring of 2023, and we have about 7 months or so. It really depends on what month in spring they actually release this game, but give or take, it's going to be about 7 months. Now, looking at the past trailers and their exact release dates, we can see that the first Breath of the Wild 2 trailer gameplay was on June 11th, 3 years ago, which actually wasn't gameplay, it was just a CGI cutscene, and I'm pretty sure it was in-game too. Small mistake there. The second trailer was released on June 15th, which was E3 time, and the last one was 4 months ago on March 29th, which gave us the Breath of the Wild 2 release window. If you look at all of these trailers and the dates that are attached to them, you can say that Nintendo is ramping up things as time goes by, which means we're getting closer to that release date. These trailers for Breath of the Wild are coming quicker and quicker and quicker, and if that's the case, the new trailer for Breath of the Wild 2 should be coming soon. Because if development on this game wasn't going well, I think that we wouldn't see that trailer that we got last time. Now, it's my belief that we will get a Nintendo Direct in September or October that sets up the first half of 2023. This is because in the past couple years, Nintendo has done a Nintendo Direct around this time. Now, if you want a whole explanation and going into detail on that and when the next Nintendo Direct is going to be, you can click the top right corner of this video. But essentially, the reason why I say it's going to be in October and September, one of the two, is because Splatoon 3 is coming out in September, and Nintendo may want to focus on that game instead of throwing one huge Direct that kind of pulls away from the marketing of Splatoon 3. Again, they don't want to disrupt that momentum, they want to keep it going and keep it steady. So I think a new trailer for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 will happen in the next 2 months, another wave of momentum Nintendo can add, along with releases like Bayonetta 3, Mario Rabbids, Harvestella, Splatoon 3, and so on. As we step into 2023 during January, Nintendo will have those games set up, and I think the next Nintendo Direct will be in the first half of 2023. And I think the first Nintendo Direct for 2023 will not have that huge gameplay blowout for Breath of the Wild 2, and here's why. If we look at the past two tentpole games that Nintendo has released, this being Splatoon 3 and Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Nintendo likes to have these huge Nintendo Directs 1 month before that focus solely on gameplay for these games. This is how I predicted that there would be a Splatoon Direct, and this is how a lot of people thought as well. There's gonna be a Splatoon Direct for these games because they haven't showed too much on the games themselves. Even if you're Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo, or whatever company you are, if you have these big games that are supposed to pull in all of this revenue, you really want to make sure you have people seeing gameplay on this game and promoting it. We'll get the same thing for the new God of War game, we'll probably get the same thing for Starfield from Xbox. This is pretty much how a lot of companies promote their games. Now we can apply the same thing to... What? We can apply the same thing to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. Nintendo will continue to bring out trailers with gameplay snippets up until 1 month before that release date. Now, one thing I never mentioned in my last video is other events other than the Nintendo Direct, because it can change a bit. We have 2 events coming up, Tokyo Game Show and Gamescom, 2 game shows that could show a Breath of the Wild 2 trailer. Now, a little prediction on what these trailers will entail. I fully believe that these next trailers are going to give us more information on the story. I think we're going to know more about what the heck is going on. want. I also think there's gonna be one thing that blows up the internet. Just like the Master Sword broke, I think they're gonna reveal something that's gonna make us speculate a lot. And I really can't wait for that. That is gonna be fun. I think that's what's gonna happen. So yeah, that's what I think is gonna happen to the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. I don't think it's gonna get delayed. I think we're gonna get a couple trailers up until that release date 1 month before, and then we're gonna get a huge Nintendo Direct just like Splatoon 3 and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Now of course I could be wrong, this isn't perfect, this is all speculation, so keep that in mind. And also, if you reach this part of the video, here is a cookie. I really appreciate you guys reaching this far, because the further you get into the video, the better the video does. Now if you don't care about the Legend of Zelda ports with Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, click the top right corner of this video and you'll be brought to a video about Splatoon 3 and what I think about it as a new player. And if not, let's talk about those Zelda ports and how it fits in with the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 release date speculation that we previously have had on this video. You know, something that always amazes me when it comes to the Zelda ports on the Nintendo Switch is that Nintendo put so many Wii U games on the Nintendo Switch already. So check this out. We have the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 1, of course, Lego City Undercover, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, along with the DLC coming by the way, Pokemon Tournament DX, Bayonetta 2, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Captain Toad Treasure Trackers, Hyrule Warriors, New Super Mario Bros. U, Tokyo Mirage Sessions, Wonderful 101, Pikmin 3 Deluxe, and Fatal Frame. So we have all of these, but arguably not one of the two most wanted ports on the Wii U. Does Nintendo just not like money? The Zelda ports are something that I think a lot of us really want. Drop a like if you guys do want those Zelda ports and you think they should hit the Nintendo Switch, and dislike if you think they shouldn't. The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess and the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker are much beloved and would fit perfectly on the Nintendo Switch for many reasons. Game preservation, ease of access, portability, better performance than other platforms, and more. I always find it weird how some people would say just emulate it, or just buy it, or just buy a Wii U or buy a GameCube and so on. There are so many positives for a Nintendo Switch port for these two games. I mean, even PC players should want these as well, because you can emulate those games and play them at a better frame rate, better resolution, and so on than the PC Simu and Dolphin. Okay, I was running out of breath there. What I meant is play it better on PC than Simu and Dolphin. But I think when it comes to these Zelda games and the Nintendo Switch leaks and rumors and all the stuff about these games that these Twitter people have, or the self-claimed insiders and video game journalists and so on, are coming out and saying that yes, Nintendo is doing these, and then nothing just happens and then we get disappointed, I think a lot of us are just getting sick of all of that, and I think personally we should just shelve it in the back of our mind for now if it's not revealed at the next Nintendo Direct. I think if anyone says that they're still happening, just consider it fake. I mean, all of these things, any Nintendo Switch rumor or leak, you should just consider fake right off the bat, just in case it is fake, because it always can be fake, but make it extra fake. Now, I do have a reason for this thinking, and here's why. For a while now, people have been throwing around the idea that Nintendo is going to use these Zelda ports when they don't have release dates for a game, or they have a spot where they don't have a game place. Part of this is because the rumor about these games is that the games are finished right now and Nintendo is just sitting on them, which makes a lot of sense because it's been rumored for so long and these games probably wouldn't take that long to make. But here's the thing, if that was the case, wouldn't Nintendo plan these ports that are fully in high demand in 2023? Since they've been rumored so long, this gives Nintendo plenty of time to plan ahead. They don't have to fit it into their schedule. Especially if we have 7 months until the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, that is plenty of time to fit it smack dab in the middle, which I'll get to soon. So if it's not revealed at the next big Nintendo Direct, we should wave that white flag and just give up for now, I should say. But let's say it is going to be there. Let's just visit Fairy Tale Land for now and say it's gonna happen and it's gonna be at that next big Nintendo Direct. We don't know if it's gonna be or if it's not gonna be, but let's just assume it is. How will it fit into Nintendo's plan? How does it fit into the Nintendo momentum? Well, as I said, I think Breath of the Wild 2 won't have that huge blowout yet. I think that's gonna be 1 month before the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 release date. I think it will happen 1 month before. I don't know why I have that twice on my script. Kinda weird. But anyways, if this is true, Nintendo can use these games as an in-between, place it smack dab right in the middle of now and spring. So maybe sometime around January or February would be a good spot. I think that's how Nintendo is going to release these games if they exist anyways, because we don't know if they exist or not, so of course this is just speculation. I guess we'll just have to wait on that. So what do you guys think? Do you think Breath of the Wild 2 will get delayed? Do you agree with me on how Nintendo will market Breath of the Wild 2? And also, do you agree with me on the Legend of Zelda ports? Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. And if not, on your way out, make sure you subscribe for more videos and also have that notification bell on. And if you want to support the channel in any other way, there is my Patreon and Twitter account in the pinned comment if you're interested in those. Oh, and also have this donut if you're still sticking around for me rambling. Thanks for watching, guys, and remember, stay safe, stay charged, and have a good one.